Alright, so this is me monkey braiding the ears. There's no actual braiding, we just band the hair into ponytails. So I feel the middle of the ear using a parting tool, come towards the front of the ear leather, grab that parted hair, make sure that the line is nice and clean. Take that part, bring it back, and at the same point in the ear leather on the inside, we're going to meet up. It's important to take your time so that you do end up in the right spot. Using my pinky to hold back the rest, I comb it out because you want it to be all combed out before it's banded. And I always use that pinky to hook the hair back that I've parted, because this is definitely a weird place. Look at that. Even still having a little bit of trouble. Then from that line, I come down further and towards the front of the ear leather to extend that place that keeps the ear nice and clean away from the mouth. And I also find that when you send dogs home with bands in their ears, the owners think that they have like a little show dog. It makes them look so much fancier. And these are really small, easy bands, so they're like, if I keep these in my own dog's hair, they'll like start to slide out after a week. So I just do that. Alright, so this is all my shave work. I find that when you're grooming, you really want to work from the shortest hair to the longest hair. So on poodles, you have to shave them. So what I'm doing there is I'm using the spine of the comb and a 30 blade with a Blake blade. And right where the spine of that comb is, you can go up. And that is your shave line around the base of the tail. So I've already done the sanitary. Just connecting that all around. Okay, so you hold the tail straight up and then use the clipper to go down into the body. You know where to stop because the body kind of tells you where to stop. Otherwise, you'd be turning your clipper and going down the hip. See those symmetrical little wings almost? So then I'm pulling them up so they look a little weird. But you just use the edge of your blade to turn in towards the center. And then just clean up the little V. Let's see. Edge of the blade on either side. Alright, so you can see she has an umbilical hernia, which makes it a little bit easier to figure out hers. Also, if they have a penis, which is what I was doing underneath, if they have a penis, you just kind of put it right in front of the penis. That's an easy way to break up your dog. Even pet dogs, or when you're cutting them in, it's a pretty good assessment. I don't really like to use the rib cage because sometimes dogs are short-backed and have, a little bit longer ribbing than you'd expect. And, I actually find that their little umbilical area is usually pretty accurate or close to it. So she's obviously in pattern already, so it's a little bit easier to find her spot. But they do still have a coat direction that it likes to grow, and so right there I'm just poking in, but I'm always going reverse so I get really nice clean clipper work at all these parts. And now I'm just pulling back that hair so I can follow that line all the way down. Okay, so holding up the ear, she was shaved like she was going to go into a modern or something like that. So now we're going to shave it for those retro banded lines where, they have no neck hair. So you can go a little bit lower in the front because they have that top line exposed. It drops down their top line and you really don't have neck hair to build up a neck. So as much neck as you can kind of show off, I feel like, is great. And then you're going to angle back. So you'll notice how I'm Right there I'm cutting in the back of the top knot, which I will explain in better detail when I'm doing the top knot on Groomer TV, which I should have already done having posted this secondary. So now I hold up the head and I go down, down, until I hit that where the shoulders kind of are stopping me. And see, you see that straight line across. I didn't look for that straight line. The body kind of just told me it's there. And then I'm going to go against the grain and follow that line to help me see that shoulder angle all the way to the front. Okay, so the length or the height in the back of the dog's hock is going to match the height of the top of the bracelet. So that's how I find that shave work for the front leg. So first I like to do the straight line. I like to do the straight line that is at the base of the bracelet. And then still just follow that all the way around so that you have like an obvious bottom. Once I've got that going, I kind of pinch that skin to find exactly where the elbow is and tap right in, right above the elbow. I just follow that around because I know that's the bottom of the jacket. And the front of the jacket has to meet up with the jacket underneath your dog. So it has to come straight around. And again, just going in reverse to get those really clean lines and the really smooth clipper work. You kind of have to go all the ways because you have lots of cowlicks. Now that I've clipped in that line, I can distort the skin and still know that I'm along that line. The inside of the arm, from the elbow up into the armpit, see, you can actually shave all the way up into the armpit. That's because you still have hair dropping down from the chest to complete the jacket. And this is like a bitch that's really, really hairy. So cutting down on any hair is really great. And you can't see her armpit shaved out and you can't tell from the front or from the side. I think it makes for cleaner scissor work around that area. Okay, these are places, even on like a, contest trim, I would clip in. So I'm using a clipper guard here. It is a yellow guard, so I can still work down. And notice how I'm going off the butt like it's a ski jump and not like I was going to wrap around. And now using an orange guard, I'm going to come down. I'm holding the hair that's on the pin bone. So I'm going all the way down into the deepest part of the dog's bend of knee. And there you can see that angle that we're trying to show off. Then I'll comb everything up. And now I start to really swoop so that I get more of that shape since I've already found the deepest part of the circle, or the deepest part of the bend. From the deepest part, I now use the same clipper guard to go reverse and pick up the hair from the pin bone. Again, not wrapping, but picking it up. So I have that little pointy shelf, but I don't have excess off the back of the butt. Okay, so this is how I do really quick and easy poodle tails in the salon. It is just a really fast way of doing it, and it's pretty darn close to, the good, perfect thing. So I'll take all the hair in my hand off the tip of the tail and just clip it right off. Of course, my clipper's not being very effective right there. And then, of course, you could use a scissor and not have to look like a fool. And now I comb everything down towards the butt, towards the base of the tail. Once I've got everything going down, I scrunchie it down. I make this noise too. Whoop. And then everything past that shave line needs to be clipped off as well. And this, for me, is just like the fastest way to set in where your tail needs to be. You know it can't hang past that shave line. You know you need a solid top to your puff. So this is just a quick way to dial it in. Give it a little shake. Comb. You can see it's got a lot of its shape already. So now you just take a curved scissor and, starting from the bottom, work your way up, because those short hairs are going to help support those long hairs. Pick up that tail, shake it out, work the sides over, and just keep working that tail until you have a distinct back. When you have the back all dialed in, you can pull the tail down, split it down the spine, and then follow that shape from the bottom over to the sides. Everything over to the other side from the spine. Same concept, just following that curve from the bottom that you can see because you dialed it in. Boom. Now all you've got to do is touch up the little bit of front, but this is all kind of just finish work from here, because for a salon tail, that's quick, easy, and to the point, I think. And this will look good between appointments, is the thing. Like, you don't have a huge tail to do when they come back. It looks like a proper poodle tail, and it'll grow into a really plush, voluminous poodle tail, but it'll never be out of control. So this is just my quick little salon tail. Now, while I have you guys here, don't forget that Barkleigh will be having their end of the year awards like every year. I'm the current reigning champ of video of the year, and I'd love for you guys to consider this video, my free tutorial for how to do a Fifth Avenue trim, as your vote. It has so many poodly things about it. You know, the tail, the ears, the palms in the front, all the style in the back. So please consider us. So when I'm scissoring the rear leg, I start from the bottom. Started from the bottom, no. So I start from the bottom, seeing where I clipped off those, the hair for the cuffs. I use a curved scissor and build up. See, it's kind of just like the shape of the tail. Remember how we started from the bottom and used a big curved scissor? It's the same scissor, using it going up. And don't be afraid to actually take it off. Like, a lot of people leave their hocks super heavy and then, like, over-angulate their poodles or make their legs look a little like bell bottoms. This is, first and foremost, a salon trim, so it shouldn't be in excess anywhere. But you should also have, like, control of your groom, and leaving all that hock hair, I feel like, is lacking control at times. So I take that same curved scissor and reverse it, and just continue to follow that shape that I've been trying to get this whole time, you know, using the clippers to scoop. Now I'm using a blending shear and just continuing to follow that shape all the way down. See, that's more proper. Sheesh, Blake, walk away from it. Okay. So comb everything up towards the shave line around the tail set. Then use a straight scissor and just get that nice and smooth, the transition smooth from short to long. Remembering that you're moving towards the top line, so you should also be moving towards having your hand level. Everything between that sphincter and their privates can be trimmed really short. I mean, sometimes I'll even just like take a 9 or 7 and clip that out. Okay, so then from the bottom, using a curved chunker, I'm just going to bring around that point, soften it, and then whittle down towards the thigh so that I can start to define that thigh muscle. So that's me right there, bringing it towards the thigh. From the top line down to the thigh. I'm just trying to establish not only the rear angle, but also how wide the thigh is. Now this dog was in a clippered version of this trim and was groomed by a student last. So she is lacking some hair at the stifle right now, but you know, the student did a pretty good job. She's still a little lacking in her jacket right there behind the elbow, but we'll get rid of most of that today. And her stifle is almost there after the haircut too. So by the next time we do her, she'll be all perfect, and after that, I'll probably change her haircut anyway. So I'm just combing everything over to the clipper work and then scissoring it straight across because it needs to be as seamless as possible. And then showing that they have, you know, a tuck up, which isn't just something that you see from the profile, but something that you should see right there in their waist, but still building up to a strong back. So I'm not trying to whittle down the width of the back at all. Still just pulling those hairs forward, smoothing out this transition area. Now I switch to a curve reverse to help really contour and give her a snatched waist. And you see how I bring my hand back towards me as I get to the thigh, because I want to make sure she still has a thigh muscle. And now I'm using curved chunkers reverse in that same spot. So I didn't want to get any more aggressive, but clearly something was still a little bulgy. Oh, that was definitely my lower chin. You're welcome. So when I do the rear legs and I'm going for that inner parallel, I remember I started from the back. So now I bring that back around to the inside and really make sure that I'm setting that hawk down in an A-frame. And then I switch to a straight scissor and build up. Find the top, and then build up. That way the points of my scissors are pointing the exact angle that I want to have on the dog. And then just swiping that comb, keeping that technique of combing everything out and up, and just scissoring straight up. If it pops out, it doesn't belong. One more time. Comb everything up. Shake it out so it sits more naturally. Really scrape everything off to the side. And then straight scissor all the way up. And I'm holding the foot so I can really see all those hairs. You can kind of move the dog around here and there once you've really set the lines, because then you can distort it and still see what line you're going for. But generally you are grooming them while they are stacked, because that's the way you're going to present them and that's the way they're going to walk around. So you can trust that. But, you know, while you're grooming them, you can, you know, sit them down, you can lay them down, you can do all sorts of things to check your work. So now I'm using a curved chunker just to bring that back around to the inside. So I kind of pluck all the hair up. And this is not a normal angle for me to do this. Normally I would stand in front of the dog and do this area, but I figured it would be a bad angle. So I wanted you to see this angle, and then I ended up scissoring weird, so I apologize. But you just have to, keep the back as, strong and broad as you can while still cinching in their waist and making sure their legs fit their body. So I notice how I start towards the back and wrap around. That helps blend that area and keep your leg three-dimensional. And then I'm going to switch over to a curve. Again, I kind of put myself in a weird angle here so that you could see what I'm working on. But it's not my normal way of scissoring here. Because you've completed so much of the leg, this is a little bit easier to gauge by your, eye. And then I just move to a different side of the dog and continue to follow those lines. So I knew where the back needed to be, and I'm using that chunker to blend off the side and contour all around that thigh muscle into the point of rump. Just to get that smooth, sexy curve, and batting that hair out to take it off. Just really putting more of a finish back there. Now, again, this dog was done by a student last and was in a really short summer type version of this trim before that. So she's still growing back her stifle a little bit. Maybe needs a little bit of fill behind the elbow too. We'll see when we're done with that today. So using where I stopped at the tuck up and the rear and kind of wiping off the outside of the thigh. And then I'm going to just try to fiddle with the front of this back leg so that I can take off some hair, but also really let a lot of it grow. So there's no need to put a big angle there because the tuck up is all that shave spot. Cleaning up in front of the thigh. And then in order to make that knee pop out more, what I'm going to do is trim right there in front of the foot. It kind of helps fudge that a little bit. And now I'm really just going to keep looking over the profile, see how I like it, and something pops out. I just bat that hair in from the the inside so that I can see it a little bit easier. And I know nothing's supposed to hang over when I'm done, so that's okay. Again, trimming right in front of that foot more. Stepping away. I guess calling it quits for that groom. And then the bracelet. So we already have our bevel on the bottom, and now you have to do the bevel on top to match that. So I'm just pointing my scissor in towards the leg and following that up into the dog's. I always just think of it as scissoring, up into the bone. Scissoring up to the bone using the point of my scissor to get there. Obviously, I don't normally twist my table a million different ways, but in order to keep the lighting good, I have to keep kind of shifting. So, good thing Rapunzel's super used to all this. And it was an easy day for her because we only had to groom half of her. We're going to groom the other half on Groomer TV, which I will have already have done by the time I post this. So you notice I did like the tops and then I did the front to set back the bracelet. And I'm just going to use that curve to chase it around. Then come to the profile and pull everything out of the back. Shake it out so it lays a little bit more naturally. And again, you don't want the front coming out too much. That'll make the dog look too long. You want to make sure that you see the nice pretty foot and that the bracelet helps sit the dog's leg underneath of itself. Just twisting the arm a little bit so you can get that last little angle. So now for the jacket. I know where that shave line ended, and now I just have to clip everything off that comes past it, because nothing ever hangs past shave lines. We know that. I know that the front of the elbow and the back of the elbow area all has to line up. So I'm using a curved scissor to come into that area where my point is pointing right at that shave line. Then using that same curve to bring it around. And then using that same curve underneath to continue that line. Now she is lacking just this little bit of hair underneath of her towards the back of her jacket. So I'm just trying to keep this going back broad and just really kind of tidy up what's at the back of the jacket. Of course, I still have the other side to groom, which isn't done yet. So makes it a little bit more challenging, but I just want to make sure that I don't pinch it towards the back of the jacket. Now using a straight scissor, going up that straight line, right at the shave line. Then a curved scissor to point at that shave line and bring that jacket back around. Tailoring down the back of the jacket with my curve facing the correct way. And just getting it really close as you get towards the top line and the back of the jacket. Because if you leave it stuffy back there, the dog's neck really shrinks. So once you've done all this work, you kind of realize, oh, okay, maybe my shave line needs to move a little bit. So this is me just, getting further along in the groom and realizing that, hey, this maybe isn't as straight as I like it, or it can come down a little bit more. It's not dramatic enough, whatever. So at this point, your dog's shaking 100 times and whatever else, and it helps you just take a second look at that area, combing everything over the shave line, and then using a straight scissor to take everything off. So now I'm going to work on the side of the jacket. Comb everything straight up. Take a big pair of curved scissors. Point them towards that shave line. Then turn your scissor out. And bring that all around. I'm not trying to take her super short. All I'm trying to do is bring that jacket together. So up here, where you have your layback of shoulder, it still has to look like a teardrop jacket. It still has to have an accentuated layback. So that's why I use a curved scissor reverse to really show off the fact that she's got, well laid back shoulders and a long, elegant neck. And then when you see her from the front, she'll still have a teardrop shape to her jacket. And I think that's the most important part. I don't know if I get a good shot of it from the front here while the other side is done. I'll have to try to remember to do that on Groomer TV. You see that little spot on her other side? She freaking scratched a hot spot. She's 7 years old. Got her first hot spot. This girl has never had a hot spot before. I was like, what are you doing? Anyway, so I'm using that big curve and just bringing my jacket up and around and smoothing it out. Drag all the hairs up. Get your curved scissor and follow that little teardrop shape, making sure to keep your ribs rounded. This is right there above the ribs. This is right along the ribs, down into the jacket, along the ribs. So you can see she still needs just a little bit of hair back behind the elbow. Almost. This is me trying to make it disappear as much as I can, but it's just not going to happen today. Now I'm just going to clear off the jacket as much as I need to from the other side so you can kind of get an idea of what shape I did over here. Because they are going to be two separate videos, so I know that there are some people who are not technologically inclined and won't find the other video. So this is the pre-recorded version of a scissored Fifth Avenue trim. I am going to do a salon style Fifth Avenue trim on Groomer TV. So search Groomer TV and put in my name, Blake Hernandez, and you will find a salon style Fifth Avenue trim. I'm going to record it in a different way, so it'll be from a different perspective, and it will have some of the things that you didn't get to see in this video, so like the top knot and the shave work behind the top knot, and that kind of stuff. So I get all twisted right here. It's just kind of a weird position you put your body in, and I couldn't keep the camera straight at the same time. So here we are. I think this is just me kind of fine-tuning what I can on this side while she's still on the table. She's used to contest grooming, so once you plop her feet where they go, she's pretty okay about it. Of course, you had to move right after I said that. So, this is the general shape you get with the top knot not done yet for a Fifth Avenue trim.